Right, it's 10 to 6. It's the lowest tide of the year, and I'm about to walk from Salthill beach near Blackrock, County Dublin, all the way hopefully to Sandymount Strand, and then hopefully go to Pool Beg, the Half Moon Swim Club, go all the way across the bay, see how it goes. That's the overall plan. And the reason I've chosen today is that today now is the lowest tide of the year. At 6:30 will be officially the lowest tide of the year, so it'll be 0.18 meters low tide, and so the strand will hopefully be totally exposed, and I'm going to walk across it. And YouTube is mostly about really snappy videos, very to the point, and I'm kind of conscious of that a lot of the time, so I have a subject in mind usually for when I'm talking. This time I've no real idea what the hell I'm going to say, and I don't really care. Just totally relaxed about it. I'm going to just say whatever comes into my head. So it's going to be just a relaxed stroll where I'm talking to myself about solving most of the problems of the world and my own problems. So hope you enjoy it. I certainly will. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. That is strange there, just seeing that, because that is where the water normally covers that totally. In fact, it's battering against the rocks there, and now it's totally exposed. It's just strange to see it. And so Salthill beach there, and beautiful sunshine. It's a beautiful day. It's April the 17th, Sunday, so it's Easter Sunday, and a lovely day. I had a big debate with myself about what to wear for this expedition, so I decided to go barefoot and some shorts, and I have a jumper on over a t-shirt. I was debating with myself as to whether to wear the jumper, and in the last minute I decided to wear it. Now so it's 10 to 6. Low tide officially is at 6:30. Now also that coincides with a bit of rain forecast, and you can see there those purple clouds aren't looking the healthiest, but I think I'll be fine. Other times when I've gone paddling and stuff along the coast, I've worn jeans and I kind of rolled them up, attempted to roll them up and stuff, and it's never worked. They've always got soaked, so I decided to cut my losses, go barefoot and with a pair of shorts. So I'm just going to be, and it's going to be nicer really just to go through the water. That is beautiful now already. Salthill beach there, and it's lovely the way the birds go along the sand once the tide goes out. And I'm going to go out I think my first destination is to go to buoy number 2. So that there, it's funny to see, that is the west pier there, which is normally covered in water, and it's a lovely walkway as well. But the buoys are usually the deep water markways, and they're totally exposed now today because of the low tide, and it's not even low tide yet. And I have a fascination with the tides now ever since I started swimming, which was about 2 years ago now. It's funny to think now I'm swimming in the sea 2 years, because I never thought I'd be doing it. And I'm just so close to nature now on account of it, just swimming in the sea. It's just brings you very close to nature. It's lovely to see the birds here. He's got a fish in his mouth, and it's just so beautiful, everything about it. And low tide, it's like nature rolls back this canopy over this majestic sort of landscape for 6 hours, and then, or maybe for 1 hour while it's at low tide, and then it rolls it back again, and it's just revealing this beautiful sort of secret landscape that's normally totally covered in water. And here we see, oh, it's a beautiful bird there, the red beak. And yeah, there's a lot of birds gathering right here now. I wonder, did they capture some fish that might be left behind by the tide going out? But I'm just fascinated with the tides now, and it's just fascinating really that there's such a volume of water normally there, thousands and millions of litres of water, and then millions of litres of water brought in at high tide, which was about noon this morning, and it was fascinating. Sandymount was completely full of water, which is very rare. And now all of that, tons and tons of water have been dragged back out and totally drained from this area. It's something we kind of take for granted, but when you think about it, it's such a force of nature in every sense. And it just reveals this kind of new landscape with shells and everything that's kind of left behind. This beautiful sort of secret landscape that normally I'm swimming over and is kind of naked and revealed in all of its natural beauty for some moments. I'm going out to buoy 4 here, and these buoys are a real landmark when you're swimming in the sea, because it's sort of the target to go for. During the summer I swim out to these buoys, not during the winter because it's just too cold and I tend to stay by the coast. So there's the buoy, almost completely dry there, and the other buoy at that point. That's Dun Laoghaire in the distance, and so that's going to go out more. It's still got half an hour to go, so I'm paddling and I'm going to go along here, and then I'm going to go in towards the coast. My itinerary is going to take me back in towards the coast at Sea Point, and then go along the coast there towards Blackrock and Booterstown and Sandymount, because it's something that I very rarely see during. You very rarely get a chance to see that coastline from the sea. You see it from the road, from the other direction, but it's just such a different thing. It reveals a totally new perspective. It's lovely there actually, the sun is setting now in the west. It's a nice view there, Sea Point. That's my beloved Sea Point, so that's where I started swimming. All this adventure started 2 years ago. It's deeper than I expected on the lowest tide of the year. I want to be out, but it's such a flat landscape here that I'd say within a half an hour all of this will be dry and it'll be much further out there. I love paddling, it's just lovely, relaxing thing to do. There's always people metal detecting, and today, sure they'll love today being outside. There's a guy down below metal detecting. I don't know if they actually find anything, but I suppose it's part of that mystery, the same mystery that brings me out here. Just seeing this kind of exposed landscape that you don't normally get to witness. And it's just part of it, that this force of nature drags in this capacity of water, which drags all sorts of things with it. You can see there now actually there is a totally separate kind of beach forming there. There's a wave coming in from the distance. That is unusual. So it's like it's quite calm here, but there's a wave coming in from there. Sometimes it comes from boats that pass by. And so there are the buoy markers all along the Sea Point, which are nice little landmarks for swimmers. Really beautiful day. Sea Point Martello Tower. So Dublin is famous for these Martello Towers here. They're all along the coast from Dalkey to Dun Laoghaire and Sea Point there, Blackrock, and out to Sandymount Strand as well. I think we're Built around the time of Napoleon. Oh, that's lovely, glistening sun there on the water. It's beautiful. Birds love it here as well. This is going to be some workout. Yeah, so I was thinking about the conditions. I've been planning this for quite a while. Because I'm excited about seeing the coast, being able to walk the coast there. And so it's been a very rainy day so far. Now we're getting quite an oasis here of sunshine and beautiful weather. But rain is forecast about 6:30, just that low tide. So hopefully I get away with some of that and be able to make it all the way to Dublin Bay, which is that landmark over the other side of the bay. And there's little Mr. Metal Detector. Interesting to see if he gets anything. Because I would imagine today is going to expose an extra low tide is going to expose parts of the strand that haven't been exposed up to now. Then back to relatively dry land. It's beautiful vista. Just love this uninterrupted view of the full all the way around Dublin Bay. It's just lovely. It's so rare that you get a kind of a view, 360 kind of goldfish bowl view of the natural landscape. And there's Sea Point, Untitled Chapter, so that's where I started sea swimming in the first place. And I go all over the place now. To Vico and Killiney and the 40-foot in Sandy Cove, but Sea Point is kind of my beloved sea spot still, and it's where it all began. And it's a very old, it's been there probably since the Victorian era, lots of period buildings there on the hill in Monkstown. Beautiful area. I have 2 metal detectors. Metal detector man there. I'd say they're going to love it here today. And see if they found anything. It's just kind of weird to think that earlier today I would have been swimming, in this area here, suspended in water, and now, in water about 2, maybe even 3 meters deep, and now it's empty and dry. The power of the sun and the moon dragging water in and out, or as Einstein would say, bending space and time so that the water follows that new path of the bent dimension. Beautiful. It's like ink drops in the well there, the clouds. Quite threatening there on that side, on the north side of Dublin, and looking a little bit better in the west where the sun is setting. So that's Sea Point there, and heading towards Blackrock now. Metal detector, guys. 14 minutes in. Totally dry there now, it's like a little mini beach. It's a little pool gathering there, which I wouldn't have noticed before. Quite deep water. See the one up there? Over there. Oh yeah, 21. Did you find anything, lads? No? Okay, so there's a little lake here, which I haven't really noticed at some point before. And then it's dried out. It's kind of a little mound then which separates it from the sea. And it's just as well now I've come in shorts and barefoot, because no matter how far out the tide is, there's going to be these lakes. I'm going to get soaked, so it's better off just being barefoot and having bare legs rather than getting drowned. So this is nicer. It's nice warm water there. Yeah, so I love going on nature walks and things. And sometimes in kind of the walking community, there can be a feeling that it's all about the destination. And really, for me, it's about the journey, just experiencing it and looking around. And I think sometimes that's a bit lost. It's kind of, there's a bit of drive to get there and within a certain amount of time. And I love kind of urban locations as well. I've always been fascinated with it. There's a lot of nature in urban environments that's kind of forgotten. That point there is an old location where there used to be Sea Point baths, bathing area, and now it's a private house just at the end there. And so that's just the end of Monkstown there. And yeah, I swam once, so from Sea Point, which was a lovely swim, from Sea Point all the way to Blackrock Castle. So I swam right through those rocks, which was a bit of a problem because I scraped myself several times, and there's colonies of birds and everything. I was really swimming into chaos there, but so it was during high tide, so all of this was covered, but the rocks were just kind of protruding out. It was a lovely swim, and I think that was last year around May, June. Once the water heated up, I got on a big mission to swim along the coastline. So this is a little bit more sedate today, just going for a stroll along the coastline, but it's it'll give me a chance to just relax and enjoy myself and relax. Yeah, so how am I? I am actually quite relaxed at the moment, which I'm happy to report. I am in fairly good form, and I went through a rough patch, I suppose, about 3 weeks ago, and it was an interesting point because on this channel I've talked a lot about mental health. Oh, beautiful birds there. Don't know what type they are, but yeah, the huge rocks there at that point. So I'm going to go into the coast here. So this is something I very rarely see, and there are some private sort of harbours along here that I want to have a look at, which run along the Dart line. Normally you wouldn't be able to get to them because they're covered by the sea, but I'm going to go along here. Normally you couldn't go through there because I love exploring, something I've always done since I was a kid, but normally you can't really get through there because it's so rocky and seaweed and slippy and all that kind of stuff. So this is probably my first time getting up here. No real sign or evidence of Sea Point baths here. Some of the old lads at Sea Point would talk about it. No kind of remnants of it really evident. Presumably they got rid of it totally. It's interesting in that everything has gone full circle. Back in the 50s and 60s they closed down all these baths, outdoor baths, opened up indoor swimming pools, and now people are coming out of those swimming pools and wanting to swim in the open sea again. It's the trendy thing to do, and so it's a pity if any of those have been shut down, but that's the way things go. So that's a private harbour there. Well, there's some harbours where people tie up their boats, and yeah, so that's, you can't actually walk to that place. That's a Dart line. So there's some bridges over the Dart line here, like that one there, but I'm going to go along close to the coast as I can and see how far I can get. Hope I have enough storage of the phone. It's just occurred to me now. I think I do, but yeah, that looks totally dry all the way to Dublin Bay. Okay, so that is interesting. I might be able to come back diagonally across the harbour. That's an unusual pole there. It's kind of a marking post, which I haven't really noticed before. That is strange. Okay, my curiosity can't resist it. Okay, let's run over and have a quick look. Another little lake here. Okay, no idea what that is, but strange. I'm gonna go back towards the coast. So this is the path that the group was swam along here from Sea Point to Blackrock. And it was fascinating just seeing parts of Blackrock from this side, which you wouldn't normally see. So that's another bridge over. That's probably what's that, Sea Point Dare Station? Where is it? Yeah, that must be Sea Point Dare Station right there. You can't get them. Yeah, that's probably Bold Sea Point Dare Station, and you can, by the looks of it, get onto the beach from there. Something didn't run lies before. Okay, that's interesting. Now you could get to there. Let's try and get around there someplace. Yeah, that's Sea Point Dart Station, yes. Even though it's quite a distance from Sea Point itself, that is Sea Point Dart Station. And that seems to give you access to the beach there. Okay, let's go down there. Yeah, looks like you can walk right diagonally across the bay. That looks interesting. I'm going to try that later. Okay, so that's, yeah, okay, so you can access the sea from there. It might be the Dart Station, or it might be something that the residents use. Okay, so it says at some point there is a demarcation between Monkstown and Blackrock, which we're probably at the moment. So this is Blackrock Castle approaching here, which is a real shame really. It's been left to ruin. The council really should have taken ownership of it and kind of preserved it, because it is quite an interesting folly. And I think the history of it was that the Viceroy of Ireland, or whoever the ruler the Brits used to appoint to oppress us for 800 years, used to kind of have his summer home there and a little mini castle. Hello, Daggy. Hiya. And hiya, Daggy. Hiya, puppy. And there used to be a harbour here at Blackrock until I think 200 years ago. Sometime during the 1800s there was a major tragedy where a boat crashed against the rocks, 200 lives were lost, and then the decision was taken to build Dun Laoghaire harbour, the west pier, the east pier, which we have today. So that was then probably kind of abandoned at that point, which is a real pity. Well, it's just a pity that it wasn't kind of more preserved, because it's fascinating little ruin. And you used to be able to access it before it's kind of closed off now. So there's a period there where I don't know what's behind there, but you can't actually access it. Okay, so that would be probably Blackrock Village is that way, and here is probably what road? Sea Point Road is probably going along there, so it's probably the boundary between Monkstown and Blackrock. So that gap there is probably where there used to be a gap between the two villages a long time ago. They now just basically run into each other. But yeah, I was saying I am in good form, which is kind of good to report. And it's nice to be doing this. It just feels good to be. It's slightly crazy to be doing this, walking along the coast of Dublin and talking to myself, but you know, that's me, and I'm proud of myself. Lovely shell here. Yeah, so there's a lovely house there at the corner, and then a bridge over here. Not sure if you can still access that, so that would be the access point probably for the castle then, which is here. So, and there's a little kind of beach and everything around the castle, which makes it interesting. And it's a fascinating little place. Yeah, so swam up. It's kind of hard to believe, but it's kind of proud of it too. Swam up here from Sea Point and back, and totally different experience today. A lot more chilled out and relaxed, definitely. So let's see what we've got on our first come with me, walk with me, and our first historic stopping point. I don't know, I've always been fascinated with exploring ever since I was a kid. You know, there's nothing better than just exploring on rocks and just seeing what's behind every nook and cranny there. It's a nice little private cove. So that's how far I've come in a long time, about 5 minutes. And here we are, coming up towards the castle here. There's a few kind of steps there. So let's do this. Don't remember climbing up these the last time I was swimming. It's probably covered in water. Okay. This is lovely here. Yeah, so it's there's a lot here. It's kind of like there was this whole kind of castle grounds. I don't really know the history of it, but it's kind of castle grounds and a little beach, a little harbour, and then this little folly here. And it's all still here, but it's just kind of in ruin, really. Gotta make sure my feet don't get too knackered here. So here we are. Here's the old castle. And then this looks like the harbour where they probably tied up their ships, I don't know. But a little kind of swimming pool. I mean, you could develop this into something beautiful. A little urban swimming pool there. As I say, the baths are becoming popular again. Let's see if I can go down this way. Try and stick to the grass, maybe. And I was thinking I might just be prepared to actually swim at some point, because I thought it might be a little bit more covered there, but it doesn't look like I will be doing any swimming because it's totally dry there, almost totally across, so there won't be any fear of that. And so it's going to be walking and paddling. I'd say the most I'll have is a foot of water, probably less most of the way. So there's more of the structure of this, which is fascinating. So there's lots of other structures there where there were kind of inlets, and that looks like another harbour there. Now, boats would want to be fairly small for it, but I suppose it was probably for maybe one boat or less, or I don't know. Interesting anyway. But the bay's looking lovely today. Delighted I've done this now. It actually feels great. It's a little adventure. Now, should I go in there or out through there. Let's see. Either will probably be fine. Okay, so people are enjoying themselves here, and I can't get out that way, which is fine. I'll go the other way. Okay, I'm going to go out to the magic door. Right. And there's a rattle of an engine. Somebody seems to be doing some work there near the dart station. Okay, so this is like a little harbour here again. And it looks like just someday the whole thing just fell apart, really. You know, it looks like it's kind of collapsed there, and it just fell apart and everybody just walked away and left it. Which is strange, kind of Marie Celeste, except by the harbour. Let's try and go down here. Okay. Slippy lads. Okay. Better not clock my head against the ground here now. Yeah, I'm hoping I can go down there and walk down the other side. Okay. Looks like there's a little slipway down that side. Alright, so it's actually bigger than I thought, because you have the little harbour here, and then you have another harbour over there by the folly, and who knows, and then a kind of a wall that ran across there, so it probably was quite a structure in its day. Okay, I can go down here without killing myself. Yeah, it's really reawakens my love of exploring when I was younger, and still have it to this day. It's just part of the fun. And it doesn't have to be anything particularly exciting or spectacular. It's just something new that I haven't seen before. Okay, let's see. Okay, right. Down this way maybe, and into the water. Okay, so that is Blackrock Castle, and now I haven't seen this bit before, I think. So this is kind of interesting. So this is going towards Blackrock Dart Station there, and this should be kind of interesting. It's all kind of, as you can see, it's all in bits really, and kind of fenced off as well, so you can't get it. There's no walkway on land to it. So that's Blackrock Castle there to the east, and beautiful clouds there all the way across the bay, then almost dry. I mean, it looks like you could walk to the red lighthouse there, yeah, right out into the bay and Pullbeg, and I'll see, but I'm going to try and get across there to Pullbeg in a while. But first of all, beautiful sunshine. I'm going to go straight along the coast there. I'm going to try and get to Sandymount. Well, I will be able to get to Sandymount because it's totally dry. There's nothing really stopping me. And what a beautiful day for this. So it's so relaxing to do this kind of thing, and I suppose I've always loved walking. It's really calming feeling walking along, and it's probably one of the best exercises you can do. I always enjoy jogging and swimming and everything as well, but walking is really relaxing. There's almost no stress in your body, and your mind really starts opening up, and you can think properly, just relax and gather your thoughts, I suppose. So there's a little structure there. That's interesting. Might be another part of Blackrock Castle structure. Let's have a look. And there would have been a lot of swim spots around here, and there still are, but the further in you go towards the city, the less hours in the day you can swim them, because they're low tide. Yeah, that's a bit unusual there. Okay. And then I wonder, are these just markers or maybe place to tie boats? Maybe that's what I saw earlier back at Sea Point, at that rock. The birds are loving it. And beautiful sunshine now. Actually a little bit too warm with the jumper. I took it just in case. But no need really. I'll even just take it off. So that looks like the old Blackrock rail station. The old structure there, that bridge looks like it's about 200 years old. Now that is completely covered off, closed off and fenced off. Looks like it's very ad hoc. Looks like it's just sealed up there just for the moment. And we're approaching Blackrock Dart Station. So that is another older structure as well there, that bridge. Looks like it. Blackrock railway station probably would have been quite prominent in its day. That is lovely there. Let's see the birds go. Their cry is quite plaintive. Yeah, at the moment I'm feeling quite good. I've had a good run of it. I did mention earlier, about 3 weeks ago, I got sick. So I had a flu or something, a head cold, I suppose. And it hit me really badly. I was very surprised. And I got quite depressed over it. It kind of reminded me, yeah, there's steps up there to that bridge. Seems to be closed off again. So that goes over into the park, I think, behind Blackrock Village. So that looks like a very old section of the old rail line. And I think that's another tributary river that flows in there. I'm not sure if it's the Paddle or something like that, but it's a river that flows through Blackrock there. A lot of underground rivers in Dublin, which is a fascinating thing as well. And there we're seeing the lovely line of Georgian buildings there again, just behind Blackrock. Yeah, I got sick, got a head cold, and the symptoms were fine. It was just, it was a head cold. It was just a bit of a sore throat and things like that. But the mental symptoms really floored me. And I don't know, maybe I have very low tolerance to illness, possibly. Oh, I love those birds there. That is probably part of it. But it floored me mentally. I was depressed, really badly depressed for about 2-3 weeks. And it reminded me of the mental impact sometimes of physical illness, which I'd kind of forgotten, because my physical health, thank God, has been really good over the years. I've been very lucky that way. They must be working on the Dart line there. Yeah, that's either beside the Dart line or the Dart line itself. I wonder what they're up to. Yeah, so I was, yeah, I mean, it shocked me. It's just because I'd been doing so well. I'd made a lot of progress. I was swimming, I was being very active. I was looking after myself. I was doing all of the things that I've developed over the years to keep myself healthy. And then this just floored me. And it's something, and I wonder, it's something that's not talked about an awful lot. Because I did Google it, you know, the mental effects of even just the common cold. The depressing effects of it. Is it just me? Because, you know, and I mean, I was kind of feeling guilty. I was thinking, you know, is this just man flu where I was feeling pathetic is the word. So saying, you know, is it just me? I have a pathetic inability to handle even just the basic bit of man flu. Well, I mean, I think there is some evidence there that it does affect your mood and your serotonin and your neurochemicals. So hopefully it isn't just me. So that actually derailed me quite badly for a while. And now, thank God, I'm back. Yeah, this is Blackrock bathing spot. So you can go up here, and that platform there is a bit where people swim from. Now, there's probably only 1 or 2 hours during the day when there's enough water around here to be able to swim in. And certainly you'd be walking out for a couple of kilometres there today before you'd get enough water to swim in. But it would have been a more historical bathing site, I'd say, in the old days. Probably going to jog back, I'd say, from Buddhist. I'll see how it goes. So now is 6:30, and this is low tide, officially low tide now. Okay, so the lads are working away in there, and that's Blackrock Dart Station. So this is the official low tide, and it looks like there's a lot of dry land out to Buddhist there. So I'm going to go down towards Sandymount, see how far I can go, and then go across to Buddhist. So, and I'm approaching my birthday, which is on April 26th. Today is the 17th, so it's 9 days time. And yeah, that's the walkway down towards the swim spot. So Beckett used to do this thing, Craps Last Tape, where every day on his birthday, Crap used to do an audio tape about his life. And it's an interesting concept, just to kind of record where he was at particular moments in life. That's another nice spot there to sit on in the sun there at Blackrock. And the bridge over the Dart line. And this is an interesting spot here because this is Blackrock Baths coming up. So it's a historical spot where there used to be an open air baths here, and went for many decades, and it was one real popular bathing spot. Like all the others closed down, including one at Dun Laoghaire, which they're reopening. No sign of this one being reopened, sadly. It's totally ruined. Blackrock Dart Station there. Okay. Pretty shells. Treasure washed up by the sea. So this is a big structure here, and there we are, Blackrock Baths. Let's go in. Another bit of adventure. So totally ruined. Nothing really left of it. You probably couldn't salvage now if the council did want to. They'd probably have to start from scratch, but no reason why they couldn't start from scratch. Let's try go through here, because it is a great resource. Now, how am I going to get through here? It's filthy. Okay, got it. Now, so this is Blackrock Baths. I did a photo shoot here some years ago. It's a great spot for a photo shoot. It's nicely closed, and you get the kind of urban graffiti backdrop as well. Kind of nostalgic to think of the fun that we'd probably have had here. And there was a diving board and everything. And a lot of crack and activity here many years ago. Now it's all fallen silent. Gonna go this way. climb up here. Somebody's arranged some stones helpfully here. Unless they come down on top of me. Take off this jumper because it's too warm. Okay. Hey lads. Still beautiful sunset. It's going to be a beautiful sunset, and it is already. And I'm looking forward to doing a bit of a jog back there. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. There's no way I couldn't really. Okay, I'm going to go down here. So this is the end of the Blackrock. I presume in the old days this would have been a lot of crack here during the summer, because people didn't go on foreign holidays. Something to take for granted. So presumably this was the place to go instead if you wanted to swim or just go by the sea. It's starting to cast a long shadow now. So yeah, and even when in the old days Dublin City was so much smaller, it stopped at Stephen's Green. This would have been, you know, an out of town seaside resort, Blackrock. You got the train out here, and it was the countryside and a place where you went by the seaside. Strange to think of it now because it's such an integral part of the city. God, the birds are really vocal there. Yeah, so I was talking about sickness, and yeah, I really hit a low there. And presumably a lot of people might be able to identify it because people got, you know, because of C-19 and everything else, people were probably really impacted, both physically but possibly mentally as well, by the effects of having a flu virus. But it's something that I haven't really heard an awful lot about. People talk about the physical aspects of it all the time, about breathing problems and stuff. But what is the mechanism by which it attacks the mental system? And I think I remember reading something about it, in that what happens, I think it's your body's immune system that's causing that. It's something there on the tracks. That your body's immune system is causing that low mood, because I think it was something that it's trying to trigger all of the immune defenses throughout the body. So it's trying to depress each aspect of the body or something in order to try and trigger a full response or something. I don't know. Can't remember what it was now. But it started to make a bit more sense to me. But that link, something I must discover, must investigate a bit more. That link between just a common cold, a lousy old common cold, and just low mood and depression, basically. But I have been doing quite well, thankfully, and I'm glad for that. So, still some tributaries. That's another tributary of a river, small tributary, I don't know what it is, but it flows under Blackrock Park. So Blackrock Park is just behind us there. So there's major work going on in the Dart today. So the Dart line, because it's Easter Sunday, is probably closed down by the looks of it, and they're absolutely blitzing it with work. So So I'm close on 40 minutes on my walk now, and it has been lovely. And it's a beautiful day. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, and it is lovely. Lovely bit of sunshine. Sun is going down. It's at exactly, well, it's just off low tide now, about 10 minutes off low tide. 10 minutes off the lowest tide of the year. Hopefully it'll still be low by the time I'm running back from Bull Bay, which will be an interesting one. So there's a bit of a slope here now coming along. So this is Booterstown. Well, I'm approaching Booterstown, so this would still be Blackrock. So that's Blackrock Park behind me. And where would that form? Yeah, so that flows into Blackrock Park, pretty much seamlessly flows into Booterstown Park, I suppose. And then Booterstown Dart Station is the next one we're coming to. And we'll see another swim spot coming up there. And then I don't think I have walked ever between Booterstown and Sandymount. So they're quite cut off from each other. Sandymount, Booterstown has this Booterstown Nature Reserve Marsh, so you can't really walk through that, and you just go through by the beach. But I haven't done that before, so it'll be interesting to see that. A lot of pools here. I've heard legendary talk about the locals in Ringsend, that they have their own kind of natural pool somewhere near Shellybanks over there, which is always deep enough. Probably not today, but today we test it. But there's a lot of natural pools here, and there's one there that they can swim in all year round. But the other one that we go to is the Half Moon Swim Club, which is just off the Great South Wall there near Bull Bay, which hopefully I'll see now in a while. Please God, if the tide stays out. So it's 15 minutes after low tide now, which is fine. Beautiful day. So that is like our wind vane there, and that's showing a slight westerly breeze, which is very slight. Feels like an easterly breeze on my back, but it looks like to be a slight westerly breeze over there from that plume. And yeah, so I'm approaching my birthday, and it's been I suppose 2 years. We had the whole C19 thing, and that was weird, I suppose, for everybody. And what was it like for me? I suppose it started me swimming. Yeah, this is Booterstown swim spot here now. Some people call it Williamstown, and I might come up here actually just to have a look at that. Yeah, the older people call it Williamstown. Bit of a colonialist expression, probably after King William. But let's see what they're doing here in the dirt. Yeah, that's Booterstown, or well, Blackrock Park there, flowing in there. So so this is a Booterstown swim spot. Not many people know about it. It's a bit kind of hidden. Or is it Booterstown? No, it's actually a separate one again. Yeah, there's so many of these little hidden swim spots. Can I get down over there? Looks like I can't. Ah, yeah. Yeah, this isn't Booterstown yet, no. Because this is a separate one over the dark line. So yeah, I don't know what this is called. It might be called Williamstown. Yeah, this might be the one that's called Williamstown, and then Booterstown is below. Okay. So as you can see, The sea does come up here, but it would want to be really high tide, and you might get an hour of the day when you'd have enough water there to swim. But I suppose for somebody who wanted a really secluded, private place to swim with nobody around, this is probably the place to go. And kind of a traditional spot. But there are loads of these scattered around the coastline, which not many people know about. You wouldn't see them on the other side of the road. Okay, I'm going to try and come down here. Now, this is nice. And I'm off again, so heading towards Booterstown now, Ballyonvoher. So Ballyonvoher is a different one, or it's an unusual one. So it's the town of the road. Now, probably meant Ballyonvoher, the road out of Dublin or something, but that's like a little tributary of a river there. The carvings out from it. Ballyonvoher, yeah, and then Carrig Dove is Blackrock. So this is how far I've gone. It's quite a distance. It's probably 5 or 6 kilometres so far, and we're up at about 45 minutes. And it's been a beautiful walk so far. And hopefully a jog back. So really all I have is the keys in my pocket. It's Paul Queen Fánacht. So my birthday is coming up. Yeah, so 2 years of C19, and whether it's been a good thing or a bad thing for me, it was a weird time. I mean, it actually started me sea swimming, which I'm very grateful for. So that's one great benefit that I got from it. There was nothing else to do. And I had started, during all those lockdowns, I started running again, which was good. Got me out of the house and into fresh air. And another thing was, every morning I'd go out and do exercise in the back garden. I got to do press-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that again, and I've been doing that now for nearly 3 years nearly, every single morning, which is great. I'm delighted with that. And then I was swimming along, or I was running along around Sea Point, and I met this guy, Kevin, who has a lovely character there in Sea Point, and he's a retired gent. And every day he'd stop and chat to me, and he'd say, "Would you not go in and have a swim?" And up to that point, so more people following as well. Up to that point, I'd swam as a kid, and I had this prejudicial belief that it was miserable, horrible to swim in the sea in Ireland. So I had this imprinted memory, which may or may not have existed, of swimming or part swimming, and this is where I'm glad now. So that's another tributary of a little river there. I don't know what it's called. Just checked out, just looked them up, and it's nice and clear anyway. And I had this memory of it being miserable, so I just wrote it off. And it's incredible how you can write something out and write something off. Oh, a little crab, is it? No, it's a ship. And as a result, I never swam since I was a kid, up until that day, and it was July the 21st of 2020 was the day. So Kevin had kept on saying to me, and fair play to him, very grateful to him now, but he kept on prodding me, saying, "Go on in." He's a great advocate for swimming. I mean, he's been swimming himself for years, and he's always encouraging other people, and very grateful to him for doing it. It's very good of him to do that. So he kept prodding at me every time he encountered me going for a jog. And one day I decided, finally, I said, okay, just to shut him up, I'll put a pair of tongs in the bag, and I'll be ready, and I'll hop in for 1 minute, just to prove to myself that it is miserable. Oh, I love those shells there. There's such a collection of shells washed up there. I'll do it for 1 minute, it'll be horrible, and then I'll get out, and that'll be it. and I'll just have checked it. So I got in for the 1 minute, and after, it's fascinating, after about 20 seconds, I mean, the first time your skin hits the water, certainly in Ireland, it is a shock to your entire system, and it's a horrible feeling. And then after the 20 seconds, and certainly after 60 seconds, it's a feeling of pure bliss. Takes over, and it becomes addictive, to the point which I went in for that 1 minute swim, and I came out, I emerged after about 20 minutes buzzing. Another little promontory there. So much so, I was buzzing so much so that I went back in for more. It was like I had taken a drug and I couldn't get enough of it. I went back in on my first swim, and I went back in for more, and I couldn't believe it. It was like, why had I been so close to doing this for so many years? And I've been swimming almost every day since that day, which makes me wonder, what else am I not doing that my mind is perhaps closed to, that could be so beneficial as well. And maybe this kind of thing is another thing, but I haven't done this in a long time, just walking around. Another little lake there. They're probably never dry. If anything has water in it now at the lowest tide of the year, it's probably a permanent lake within the water. So yeah, that was just an electric experience, and I've been swimming nearly every day since. It's been the most positive addiction I've ever had, and that has done my mental health an awful lot of good. I did a previous video where I talked about 15 things I do for my mental health, and that one is certainly way up there. It's got me thinking, just philosophizing about everything in life and how life is designed, and that quite often pleasure is hidden by pain. It's hidden behind pain. So in other words, if you go for a swim, there's this barrier of pain that you have to go through initially in the cold water, which prevents a lot of people from doing it, because and thus hides the pleasure away for only those who are willing to break through the barrier. And a lot of things in life are designed that way, and really recreational drugs are kind of the opposite. It's like you have this pleasure up front, which once you break through to it, just leads to misery and pain at the other end. So this is Booterstown swim spot here now. Actually, this is one of the first places I swam as well, because a friend of mine was coming down here and he told me it'll be like a warm bath. And I didn't really believe, oh, that's cute, some kid has made a little castle there. And I didn't really believe him. But somebody had figured out that this sand, because it's exposed most of the day to the sun, and once the water comes in, the water rolls over the really warm sand, and the water is lovely and toasty. And he was right. I couldn't believe how warm it was, because it gets just toasted up by the sun, the exposed sand, and it's like hopping into a warm bath. But nowadays I would look down my nose on a warm bath. I'm into the cold, and I take cold showers all the time. Even when I'm not swimming, I'm taking cold showers. So there's just a buzz to be got from the feeling of that cold. So that's Booterstown Dart Station, and lovely bit of graffiti there as well. So when will I be close up to the hour? Probably at the hour at this stage, actually, yeah, because it's nearly 7 o'clock. Yeah, so I've been walking for an hour now, or close to it, and that's so probably about, I think I walk at about 6 kilometers an hour, so I've probably done 6 kilometers now along the coast at low tide. Yeah, so that was C19, and it was probably good for me overall, because I started swimming. I got outdoors an awful lot into nature, and I started making, I was making videos again. Certainly once I got halfway through it, I was making little videos again, and the fact that didn't have to make films or groups of people, everything had to come down to myself, actually kind of helped me a little bit, I think, in that I started facing the camera and started talking again and making videos about stuff and vlogging, and I enjoyed that. Okay, I haven't gone this far before, so this will be interesting. So the sea was all the way in earlier at noon today. It was really dramatic how far up the sea was here, all the way down towards Sea Point, or Sandymount. So we're on our way towards Sandymount now from Booterstown. I think that's the next DART station. And yeah, so the reason there's no buildings here is that behind that now is Booterstown Nature Reserve. That will be behind there. I'm going to go out here a little bit to sort of be able to see some of the buildings there in the distance. Yeah, so that's Blackrock there, and no buildings then because it's Booterstown Marsh, and then Marion Gates there, new development, and coming up here down towards Sandymount. Yeah, and then I suppose it's been 2 years. Yeah, it was fascinating because in February 2020 I had a ticket for the RTE Choice Music Prize Awards, which was in Vicar Street, and I had 2 tickets and I had no one to go with it, and everybody had pulled out, and I thought, will I bother going? And then something told me, no, you should, and happily I did, because it was the last gig in Dublin, really. It's a fascinating night out, and that was the end of gigs for at least a year or 2. And then I was on holidays with my daughter. We went to Rome and we actually witnessed the whole thing kicking off. It was like the first time we saw, oh, it's beautiful there, the reflection in the water. And in Rome we started seeing people starting to wear masks in the underground, and Italy started to be swarmed by the whole C-19 epidemic, and it was like we're witnessing the start of the whole thing. And we got out just ready before they started locking everything down. Just as well we'd probably be still there if we hadn't. Now this is interesting here. Don't think I've seen this bit before. Another little tributary coming along here. A lot of shells there. And there we are. A lot of these kind of long shells at this point for some reason. Seems to be more of those long shells than the circular ones at this point. Yeah, it's hard to believe now. It seems like a distant memory. That was 2 years ago. And now, so the other problem I have to solve on today's journey is then the latest crisis in the world, which is the Ukraine-Russia war, which broke out about a month ago. And that was incredible, because I remember I watch current affairs very closely. I really enjoy it. I watch Sky News nearly every day, kind of glued to it. And I remember when Putin started to amass the troops on the Ukrainian border, and I thought, there's no way he's going to go in. It would be, it's just not going to happen, because he's not going to be so stupid. It's all posturing. Yeah, that must be an extension of Booterstown Marsh there now. So there's a bit of growth, maybe dunes here that I hadn't noticed before. Now this is really heavy on the shells. I don't know if I'm going to cut my feet. That is strange now. I haven't seen this before. So Booterstown Marsh is in there, and it seems to extend beyond the dark line into this point. And presumably they don't disturb it because it's a kind of unique ecosystem. So that kind of flows in there. I wonder, does the water cover it? Can't imagine the grass would survive it if it did. Well, it must, I suppose. If the tide was in high today, it would have been covered in water. Yeah, that's strange. So that grass must be underwater a lot of the time. Unless it's kind of elevated here and it survives without it. It is kind of a little bit elevated there relative to that. So maybe it goes around it. Ah, the sun. There's a lot of warmth in that sun. Been walking for about an hour now. Yeah, over an hour. And gone about 6 or 7 kilometers. And that is spectacular. It's like a desert. Sandymount Strand at this point can be like a desert sometimes, of just sand just extending in all directions. Because the gradient is so low, once the tide goes out, it can be almost invisible to see in the distance. It's kilometers away. So it's come in very quick then. It's come in like at about, over the space of a couple of hours, the water has to come in several kilometers. So that is something new in me now, this marsh. Yeah. So the marsh extends in there, and there's probably, there's a little lake then. Okay, and I'm sure there must be all sorts of unique animals unique to that spot. So Putin started to amass troops on the border. He put 100,000 troops on the border, and I thought, even though it is quite a massive commitment, I thought it was just posturing, and I thought there's no way he's going to win, because it would be such an own goal for him to do it. But in hindsight now, the logic of it is probably, it was so easy for him to take Crimea that he thought, look, this will be just relatively easy as well. I mean, I don't think a shot was fired in Crimea, and that was quite a large landmass. They just walked into the place and took it over. So I presume he felt he was lulled into a false sense of security and thought the same thing would happen in Ukraine, but it's been the opposite. And now I think the most difficult thing will be for NATO and for Ukraine is not necessarily winning the war, because I think winning the war will be relatively easy. At this stage it's been disastrous for Putin and for Russia. But the difficult bit will be winning the peace, because Putin is so much boxed into a corner now. He will be probably threatened with war crimes and possibly imprisonment for the rest of his life if he ever leaves Russia, that he's going to have nothing to lose, which is a scary position for a guy like him to be put into. And if he's backed into a corner with really no prospects and possibly being deposed as a leader, could he do something stupid? Okay, this is interesting now. Alright. This is unusual. So this is like a unusual little shale beach here now, in the middle of Booterstown, Dun Laoghaire. And I'm going to go around it a little bit so that I can get towards Sandymount. Let's see how far I can get. What a beautiful day. It's quite a long expanse of shells. Probably not going to go over that, because my feet would be in bits. So I'm going to stay on the sand, I think. And it's going to be a clear run towards Dublin Bay, I think. Should I do a little bit of running now? Maybe I should. It's a little bit marshy up here. Okay, gonna pick it up a little bit. Oh, okay. Those shells are tough. Landscape here now, it's a bit marshy. Bit mushy here now. I wonder is it a tributary of a river or something coming out here. The sand is kind of giving way underneath me, it's very loose. So it feels like I'm kind of suspended over some water source or river or something here. Yeah, it's like the extension of a marsh, and that's very wet there. So yeah, it looks like there's a river coming out of there through Booterstown Marsh. So, and I think it might be best just to go around it a little bit. Oh yeah, so that is the point which the level crossing is to get to the coast road. And those houses on the beach then. I'm gonna try and get over that way. Okay, this is a little bit of a tricky bit, but it'll be grand. Okay, I'm gonna jog a little bit again. Surprised there's this much water during low tide here, but this seems to be independent of the sea. It's a river flowing out through there, which doesn't obey any tide. So that's where the houses start on Strand Road towards Sandymount. And they're interesting because those houses are built pretty much on the beach, and God knows where they'll be in 50 years time if sea levels rise. Right. That's interesting there. Oh yeah. Good ducky. Oh no, it's not food. You're a good doggy, ain't you? Good boy. So the houses have little steps down on their back garden onto the beach. Probably don't have, they probably never really had moorings for boats or anything, because they're never going to get enough water really for a boat here this far. But it's interesting to see that they've stepped down onto the beach. And yeah, what is this? Special protection area, yeah. Okay. Looks like a bit of drama there. Brent geese feeding. Okay, yeah. Anyway, I think they filmed a bit of Michael Collins here, the two lads, Mick and Michael Collins and Harry Boland, cycling along the beach there. And during one of the scenes. And I tried it once. I cycled across there towards Bullbeg, and I realised how difficult it is actually to cycle on a beach. It takes a lot of leg power because the sand is just dragging the wheels back. There's some serious drag on wheels, but if you really want leg muscles, it'll build them up for you. Now, so we are officially, finally, after an hour and more, probably an hour and 20 minutes, we are now in Sandymount. So this is probably officially Sandymount Strand. So at this point we're in Dublin 4, the famous Dublin 4. And yeah, so this is Sandymount Strand. And there is the Sandymount bathing area, where they used to have other outdoor bathing area, which is a strange one because that would have been so far from the tide. I don't know how they kept water in it, but they must have somehow. And sometimes you see people playing volleyball on the beach at that point there, and at Sandymount Strand. So at that point you leave County Dublin and you end up in the city, which is Dublin 4, the famous Dublin 4, which begins right there.